Hello? Hello? Guys? Guys, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you see me? How are we doing? Hi, everyone. I see some excitement about the topic. Hurrah. Oh, let me just fix my Lamor dress. How's everyone doing? What's going on? What is happening? Did my Instagram story go up? There's a lot of chat going on, which is great. It did. Okay, good. All right. Hi, everyone. Hi. Hi, Melisha. Oh my gosh. So before we get into the topic, we have to congratulate Melisha for getting through all of the pre-order shipping for Stanwix and Hepburn. Yay. Brava. It was a lot of work on her own in her house. She did it. She pushed through. She's a strong, independent, capable, beautiful, talented, lovely woman. Yay, Melisha. So that's awesome. So big thanks to Melisha. The next thing that's happening is the shipping of wholesale orders. So if you order from someone like Poppy Ray in Berlin or something like that, or from a stockist, they'll be getting their orders next, but we always prioritize the website orders first. So yeah, I know that was a big load off for you, Melisha. So happy. I mean, and you know, I'm just so happy it's done too. Like, I think we can just I think we both feel like we can just move on. And everyone's making their Stanwix and Hepburns now, which are looking amazing. I've seen you guys are sewing up a storm. I'll just say that in general. Like, I'm getting tagged so many times a day. I'm so overwhelmed with all the beautiful things you're making. So keep it up. This the Stay Home and Sew initiative has been a success. You're really doing it. You can breathe now. All right, everyone. So let's get right into the topic, and then we can have our general chit chat afterwards. Because, people who come in later and they want to see the topic, we don't want them to get bored with our talking about knitting and whatever nonsense we talk about. So I was thinking today, I've been thinking about topics. And one of the hot button topics, I would say, let me just fix this side, for people who follow me, is spiral steel boning and using boning in your dresses, like the Lamor dress, which I'm wearing, and questions about where to get it, how to use it, is it really necessary? Do you really have to use spiral steel? I can't get it in my town, all of that. So I will just say, from the beginning, that if you want to learn how to use it, then you want to look at my Lamor dress video, which is now completely free on YouTube. It's in 7 parts. It's called How to Make a 50s Style Halter Dress. It's in a playlist by special request. I did that for you guys. It wasn't a big deal. Not a big deal, guys. It's in a playlist. So there's a whole chapter on boning a bodice. So I would say if you're looking for how to use these materials, check that out. But here, I just wanted to talk about my preferred materials and where I buy them and why they're important. So spiral steel boning goes in a dress like the one I'm wearing, usually strapless style dresses, okay? So that includes things with halter straps. Halters and strapless dresses are pretty much the same. I mean, it'll give you a little bit of lift, the strap on the halter dress, but it's not going to support the entire bodice, right? So a halter bodice really needs to be constructed like a strapless bodice would be constructed. Okay, does that make sense? And I'm also including things in there that are like strappy styles, like really closely fitted things with tiny little straps, stuff like that. Like it's basically strapless. Let's just call it strapless. So for this style of bodice, if you're going for this kind of look, very fitted, that like sort of hallmark 50s new look kind of tight bodice, cinch waist, uplift, all of that with a lot of support, so with the fabric looking nice and smooth like this, then you need to use boning, okay? Because without boning, it's just a tube top. And we know what tube tops look like, all right? And especially a woven tube top, that would just be weird. So you would get lots of like horizontal wrinkles, and the fabric wouldn't be supporting itself. So the spiral steel is there to support the dress, okay? Another question I get a lot is, if I wear a dress with spiral steel boning, do I have to wear a bra? And I mean, I'm not here, I mean, as we talked about yesterday, I'm not here to tell anyone to wear a bra. This is the only hour a day that I wear a bra anymore. Forget it. But with this kind of dress, I do wear a separate bra because, and I say this all the time, I'll say it again, the boning in the dress is there to support the fabric of the dress, okay? And it's not there to support your body or your bust, okay? Your bra would do that. So I know it seems like overkill, but I wear a strapless style bra, a Merry Widow from What Katie Did, with this style of dress, which is also spiral steel boned. So I have 2 layers of spiral steel going on here. So one's for my body, one's for my dress. Okay, so you don't have to wear a bra, but just know that it's not, the spiral steel in the dress isn't going to actually give you bust support like a bra with cups would. Okay, I mean, really, though, anything that's very tightly fitted with boning will like kind of naturally, you know, hold you in and up, but it's not going to have like cups like a bra would and hold you up in that way. So that's my feeling about that. I hope that answers your questions on that front. The other question I get a lot is, do I have to use boning in my dress? And this question just cracks me up because it's like, well, you don't have to do anything, but do you want it to look like the pictures on the envelope? Do you want it to look like the sample dresses? Do you care if it has wrinkles? Like, if you don't care, like, I mean, that's fine. That's fine, but it's a totally different dress, okay? So you would need, if you wanted to make it without, if you want to make it without spiral steel boning, you would need to give it more ease, because you don't want it to be this tight, because you're just going to get a bunch of wrinkles. And you would also need straps on the dress because it's not going to hold itself up without the boning. Okay, so you could do the shoulder straps, make it a little looser, and then have kind of like an easy breezy sundress with no spiral steel boning. But is that the Lamor dress? I mean, not as like originally designed, but again, like, you do you, you know, but it's not going to give you the same effect. All right. So that's my feeling about that. I mean, yeah, I feel like you have to do it. Yes, where's my rolling pin? You have to do it. Maren has strong opinions. I mean, I have strong opinions too, obviously. How could I not, you know, having done this as long as I have? And just say yes. Yes, it's required. It's mandatory, everyone. Yeah, I mean, it pretty much is. If you want to make the dress like it looks in the photos and like you see it look, you know, in samples and all that, yeah, you got to do it. Just do it. That's the other thing I'll say. Don't be afraid. There's nothing to be afraid of. Okay, so then the second most common question is, do I have to use steel boning, or can I use plastic? I'm sorry, I'm like Laura. Can I make it in a knit? That's a solid no. Yeah, you guys love to ask me that question. And I do sometimes say, yes, you can make some things in a knit if you do this, this, and this. The Lamor dress is a solid no. I will hit you with my pink rolling pin if I ever meet you in person. Okay, so the spiral steel boning, does it have to be steel? Guys, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to. Here, I have some right here. But it should be. I have really strong feelings about the superiority of spiral steel versus plastic. Plastic is what they put in cheaper, I mean, honestly, not even cheaper, a lot of ready-to-wear dresses. I mean, I've spent, back when I used to spend a lot of money at Anthropologie when they made cute dresses before the current whatever they're doing at Anthropologie, and they would be like $200 and made with plastic boning. Okay, so the thing about plastic boning, and this is also called featherlight boning, and it's what you can get at Joann's. It comes in a casing already, and it's just like a clear piece of plastic that you have to pull out of the casing, sew the casing, put it back in. So yeah, we're going to talk about where to get all of this stuff, guys. All right. So it's not a locally available thing. You're not going to, okay, I'm going to get to that later. All right. Okay. So plastic boning, if you spend any time wearing a dress with plastic boning, you will notice two things. You'll notice many things. The first thing you'll notice is that it will crease in weird places. Like it'll buckle as you're wearing it, like along the side seam, it'll like bow out and bend. Will it ever go back to its original shape? No, it won't. You will always have a weird crease on your side. Secondly, it only moves in one direction, really, so it's uncomfortable, right? It's also very pokey. That's the technical term. It pokes you. Anyone who says that wearing a dress with boning is uncomfortable has only worn a dress with plastic boning. This is my feeling about it. Okay, and Regeline is kind of the same. It's polyester fibers, and it also has the same problem with creasing and bending. All right, so these are my feelings about those materials. I feel they are highly inferior, but I also understand that they can be a sort of dip your toes in the water way of working with these materials. They're a gateway drug, okay, everyone? So I think that once you discover the joys of making something really highly constructed, like a strapless style bodice, you'll want it to be better. So my hope is that you will try plastic boning or Regeline or whatever else and find that it's not really up to your standards, or you really want to take it to the next level. And that's when you're going to start using spiral steel boning. Okay. So the great thing about spiral steel boning, it's very lightweight. It bends in all directions. So by that, I mean, it bends laterally, right? So it bends back and forth like this. And it also bends front and back like this. So it's going to move with your body and not crease. You can crease this stuff, but you have to do it deliberately. So sometimes I will actually put a crease, check that out, in the bust, in the apex of the bust to get a pointier look, but you have to actually fold this stuff in half. So yeah, you can do that for funsies. But this stuff is very lightweight, very comfortable because of the way it moves with your body. It doesn't buckle or bend permanently, and it also is not, because of the way you sew it, it has less of a chance of like poking through the fibers of your dress and stabbing you. All right, I'm also saying that from experience. All right, so what else do I want to say about spiral steel boning? Oh, okay. So we're gonna talk about how to recap the ends and all of that. So first I want to say, the third most common question. Do you like how I sound like I planned out this presentation? The third most common question about spiral steel boning is, where do I get it? Or, I can't get that in my town. Guys, no one can get this in their town. All right. This is not something that you walk down to the bodega and buy at the corner store. All right. No one can get this in their town unless they live in Manhattan, London. That's it. Maybe LA. Okay. I can't get this in my town. I order online or I make a special trip into New York City to get it. Okay. So I want you guys to check out my Lamor class on YouTube because I have a list of sources of where to buy it and it's global. Okay. So I will tell you my favorite sources are corsetmakingsupplies.com. Is that the right place, guys? Corsetsupplies.com. Google corset making supplies and you'll find this shop. It's in Philadelphia. I don't know if they have a brick and mortar, honestly, but they are online and they will ship it to you like that day. Because I'm in New York State, I generally get it like the next day. Their shipping, customer service is amazing, and you will get your supplies super, super quickly. Yeah, so feel free to share in the live chat, everyone, where your favorite places are to get this. The other place I like to go is if I'm making a trip into New York City, which I do pretty often, well, I used to do pretty often for supply sourcing, then I will go to Steinloff and Stoller. And that's on what, 38th Street now? And that's a store in the garment district just of supplies and notions. Okay. So this is my favorite way to buy spiral steel boning. This is the longest finished length that you can get spiral steel boning in at Steinloff and Stoller. It's 18 inches, which is too long for almost anything that I do with spiral steel boning. That's really like a hip length corset length for someone who has a really long torso. So it needs to be cut down. The thing I like about buying it in this length is that I can get usually 2 lengths of spiral steel boning out of this by cutting it, and then I only have to finish one end. You know what I mean? So this has a cap on it here, and then usually like, so say for like the princess seam here, or like this diagonal seam, I can get 2 out of this 1 18-inch long piece, cut it to length, and then finish the end. Does that make sense? Am I making sense here? I don't like finishing the end, so it's just one of those like chore-like things that I don't really like to do. So I look for ways around it, and this is it, buying the 18-inch lengths. I also buy by the gross, so 144 pieces at a time, and that'll save you a little money too. So a lot of places that you would order it, you would have to buy it in continuous yardage. And that's a great option if you don't know exactly what lengths you need to. But then you have to finish both ends. So, okay, we're talking about finishing ends. So yes, you can buy the caps separately, and then you have to squeeze them on with pliers. I just don't like doing that either, and I feel like they don't stay on that well. So what I actually use is plumbing tape. You get this at Home Depot or any hardware store, Amazon. It's a Teflon tape meant for sealing pipes, and you just cut a little length of it. Yeah, we'll talk about cutting them next. You cut a little length of it and wrap it around at the end. So I'll just give you a quick little demo of what that's like. I had one short piece already cut. Here it is. Okay, so the other supply that I really like is my Greenlee 722. I love this tool. There are lots of metal cutters out there at the hardware store that you can use, but they are not as good because, and if you saw my like original class on this subject, which was the bombshell dress on Craftsy, which I made like, what, 10 years ago, you'll know I struggled a lot with the tool that I had at the time, because you had to kind of like nip each side rather than just clamping down once. Hattie, you're going to hate this. Hattie hates this. I'm sorry, baby. She's really scared of the boning cutting. But with the Greenlee, so Greenlee, Green L-E-E 722, you can buy it on Amazon. This is super easy. You just clamp down over the whole thing like this and just cut. That's it. That's it, guys. That didn't even bother Hattie. You're still sleeping. See? She's fine. No big deal. It's so great. So yeah, just clamp, cut. That's it. So easy. It's so easy. So that's my demo on cutting. For finishing the ends, I will say if there are any sharp little points there, you can trim them off too. Like you can actually get in there and do some like fine detail work with this thing, which is great. Like that, and just kind of trim them really, really close. So couldn't be easier. Could not be easier. Alicia, you like my singing. So to finish that end, you would just take a strip of the Teflon tape, about 2 inches is fine. And again, if you want to see all this in more detail, like, you know, close up on my hands, what I'm doing, please do watch that 7-part, totally free Lamor dress class. All right, so then you just kind of put the boning over the tape halfway up the width of it, and then just start to wrap it. Where can I show this? Start to wrap it, and then you fold the end down, like when you're about 1/2 inch from the end, and then just continue on your merry way until it's fully wrapped. Okay, so the thing about Teflon tape is that it sticks to itself. All right, so it sticks to itself and it creates this little cap there. So that's it. It's so easy. It's so easy, everyone. Thank you. Greenlee 722. All right, so that's the plumbing tape. That's the tool. Let's talk about casing next. So is your tape gray or is that YouTube? It is gray. So this stuff comes in white as well. I'm using the OT brand. Fast tape. This is kind of like fast turn, guys. It's like the fast turn. Yeah, it comes in white too. Same difference, doesn't matter. All right, so let's talk about casing next. Okay, so you can use to actually put your bones into, you need a casing, all right? And yes, you can use bias strips of fabric. You can use ready-made bias tape. But again, I feel like the specialty casing is really superior because it's a specialty material that is incredibly tightly woven, all right? So think of like the selvage on like a heavy twill fabric or something like that, how like tight it is and you're never going to get anything through there. It's like that. And then also it's a tube, okay? So it's a little tube that you put your boning into. So it just goes in there like that. So it's completely protected on both sides. So if by some chance your bone end, you know, breaks through the cap or through the Teflon tape or something happens, it is not getting through this casing. So that's what I like about it too. You're never going to have an issue with your, oh my God, guys, I have to stop and tell an anecdote at this moment. So I've been dealing with like misperceptions and questions and stuff about spiral steel boning for over a decade now. And the funniest one that I have ever heard is someone writing on my Facebook page in response to, I think it was my Lamor dress class. that I had to be careful and that I shouldn't use spiral steel boning because she had witnessed at a Renaissance fair, Maren, you know the story, I tell this story every now and then. She had witnessed at a Renaissance fair a woman wearing a corset, and this woman, as the story goes, a spiral steel bone shot out of her corset, went through her skull, and punctured her brain, and she died. Guys, that 100% never could happen, okay? People think that this is like spring-loaded or something like that. It's not. You can actually pull it apart. Like when I saw that, I was like, all right, let me try to kill myself with this. So if you like take the ends apart, I can't do this for you right now. I don't have the right tools. Stop it right now. Guys, she's dangerous. She's armed. If you try to pull it apart, it just pulls apart like a zipper. All right. It's like two pieces that are just kind of like held together, but once you pull the caps off, it's like a zipper. It comes undone. All right. It is not, someone's tripping. It is not spring loaded. It's not going to hurt you. Even if it could shoot out of your corset, it cannot penetrate your skull. I guarantee it. I'm not a doctor. But that didn't happen. 100%. I remember that conversation. I was like, can I get some source material on that? That didn't happen. So yeah, that's one of the funniest things I've ever heard. How much Red Bear beer had you been drinking? How much mead was consumed that day? Okay, so where was I? I had to stop to tell that story. And I started Googling too, because you guys know my favorite thing to do is Google things. And apparently it happened in Florida, according to this woman. I couldn't find it. It didn't happen. You know why I couldn't find it? It didn't happen. All right, everyone. So let's see. Casing. Yeah, so I buy this stuff too in bulk. You can get this by the roll. I think it's 50 yards and it comes in white and black. So those are really the supplies. It's really just 4 things. And I know it's annoying to have to order things, you know, specialty items. But if you can, my recommendation would be to order in bulk. I always have a roll of this in white, a roll in black, a gross of 18-inch spiral steel bones, and a few things of plumbing tape. And that, I mean, we reorder, you know, every now and then, right, Melisha? But for the most part, it's like something I have in my studio, like I have sewing machine needles or like I have thread. You know, it's not something that you need to order for every project if you keep it on hand. So that's my recommendation, is to just treat it like a notion that you need to keep stocked in your sewing room anyway, and then you'll have it. So I think that's it. Did I covered all the supplies for sure. Any questions? Did I miss anything? Any death by boning stories you want to share? Thoughts, feelings? Alicia says yes. Yes, we are out of, I mean, this is the very end of the plumbing tape right now, but I still need to order that. All right, everyone. So yeah, so for details on how to use this stuff, watch that Lamor class, okay? Get the Lamor pattern, read the instructions. Oh, yeah, that's a good point, Colin. A common misconception is that spiral steel boning can't be washed and it will rust. So yes, that's also a misconception. These modern days, these non-Renaissance days, spiral steel boning, all steel boning is treated with a coating that keeps it from rusting and allows it to be submerged in water. Okay, so you're going to want to hand wash for the most part, though I will be honest, I have put dresses like this one in my washing machine on delicate. You never want to put this in the dryer just because the dryer, all the tumbling, all the heat, you don't want that. So just hang it to dry, but you can hand wash or do a delicate cycle on your washing machine. You guys are giggling at boning. I know, I'm over that. Yeah, it is funny though to talk to someone who doesn't really sew and you say boning and they're like, they can't. They just can't. You'd love to know the lipstick I'm wearing. Guess what? Guess what it is, guys? It's the one I wear pretty much every day. It's called Kiss of Fire is the color name by Dose of Colors. This one says, which side do you put tape side up? I'm not sure what that means. Which side you put tape side up? The tape you can put either way down on the wrong side of your lining. I think that answers your question. But again, if you're now like, okay, I get it, I got the supplies, but how does it all work? Like, watch that chapter on the Lamor dress class on boning a bodice. Okay. Best tips for getting the top edge of a Lamor so smooth. Okay, so you need to do all the steps that I go over in the Lamor dress class, which are after you sew the neckline edge, you have to grade it, you have to clip and notch, and you have to understitch. Okay, so those 3 steps together and then with the pressing are what give you a nice smooth edge. So don't be tempted to skip any of those steps. They're required. If you're in my class and you don't do it, I will beat you. I can't beat you if you're at home. So just imagine that I'm there. And if you don't do it, I will hit you. Okay. Let's see. Tape or cap side up maybe for the bones. I put, so when I'm putting it into the casing, I put the side that I finished up. So like the plumber's tape side will be near the neckline. And the reason I do that is because I figure gravity will be on my side if it's at the top. So this cap was put on by a machine in a factory, and it's very, very secure. So I kind of feel like if either side is going to come loose, it's going to be the side that I put on by hand. So I try to get gravity to help me out by being the upper side. Okay. So someone just said, you've stayed away from all that wire stuff because I used to use underwire bras and it hurt me so bad. It bruised me. Yeah, this is really different from wearing an underwire. It's not uncomfortable in the same way and actually tends to feel more comfortable once you're wearing a dress with a little structure. That's how I feel about it. Michelle asked for a Henry and Hattie update. How are the fur kids feeling these days? Oh, thank you for asking. Hattie, how are you feeling? She's fine. She's been fine. She is loving this weather, loving her life, loving her little walks. She, she's a Chihuahua. She can be a little BAD every now and then. But, it's part of her charm. We love her. And then Henry is going to the vet on Sunday. because he still has some congestion in his chest and breathing issues. So, bit of a bummer because I thought that that was all sort of cleared up with his antibiotics, and it did seem a lot better for a while. But it's really just like a gurgling in his chest and some like coughing. Hasn't had to take his inhaler though. His breathing is fine. It's really just like congestion and gurgling. But thank you for asking about them. They're both doing well. I mean, they're both great. They're both such little sweetie pies. Okay. So I think I got through all the questions. Are we done with the topic for today? Can we talk about knitting? The dress I'm wearing is the Lamor dress, guys. So this is the one that I have the video for. So check that out in 7 parts. It used to be a $75 class that you bought on my site. And then at the beginning of quarantine, I just decided to make it totally free for everyone. And as my little gift to you so that you could stay home and learn some of these skills. So check it out. It's like very professionally produced, great class. It's not like this thing where I, sit in my living room and ramble and threaten to beat you. So yeah, check it out. So it's time. Okay, it's time to talk about knitting. So guys, check out my Instagram stories today because I finished my sweater last night. I finished knitting a sweater, my first sweater ever. So if you guys have heard me talk about my knitting journey at all, I used to knit quite a bit, and I would make things like hats and scarves and accessories, but I always wanted to knit a sweater. And I picked it up again in quarantine. It was sort of a goal of mine, is to revisit knitting. And I made a sweater. I made Amy's, so Poison Girls, the Jailbird blouse, which is a striped little mock turtleneck cap sleeve top, and I made it in pink and white. And it came out really well. I had a little snag on the neck ribbing, and Amy helped me, and you guys helped me, and I figured it out. It looks amazing. So the final step when knitting is to weave in all the, well, it's the penultimate step would be to weave in the ends. And I did that. It took me forever. Oh my gosh, guys. An entire Netflix series, Hollywood. We should talk about that. Later, I finished weaving in my ends, and this morning, so the very final step is hand washing using something like soak, which is something we talked about here in the laundry live stream, and laying it, this is called blocking, like laying it out to dry, like according to a certain schematic or dimensions. So my measurements came up exactly what they were supposed to be. So that's great. It fits great. And it's now, so now this will get all the stitches to look nice and even and beautiful and ready to wear. So it's going to take a while to dry. So I can't actually show it to you, but I did want to talk about my next project. I'm raring to go to start a new sweater, and I'm going to do the boardwalk blouse, which is another Poison Girls pattern. And I know that Melicia's going to make it next. And I've talked to a couple of you, like through Instagram DM, who are making it too. So I thought maybe we could have like a sort of informal knit along. I mean, I don't want to say knit along because I feel like that implies that I'm going to be giving you some sort of instruction or advice. And you guys know, you guys are giving me the advice when it comes to knitting. So I really thought maybe it would be fun if we're all knitting the same thing at the same time, or, a little group of us are knitting the same thing at the same time. And I can share my progress, sort of at the end of the live streams. And the other great thing about it would be that there's a lot of knitting knowledge amongst you chatters. So it would be great for people to get help. I didn't want to I don't want to step on any toes. I know that Amy runs her own knit along, so I'm not calling it a knit along, but why don't we call it just like an informal knitting soiree? It's a knitting soiree. And I also want to talk about my plans for my boardwalk blouse, because I have some unconventional schemes. Someone asked how long I've been knitting. I picked it up when the book Stitch and Bitch came out. And I've talked about that really being one of my favorite introductions to the whole art of knitting. So, gosh, that was like another lifetime for me. It must have been 15 years ago that I was really into like making hats and scarves and accessories and all that stuff. So, and also, if you guys want to be friends with me on Ravelry, my username is Gertie, and Melicia's on there too. So friend us. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. She's a rainbow. Guys, what I'm thinking is I was shopping for a present for my mom for Mother's Day, and I was looking at sites that deliver food, and I somehow came across a rainbow cake. Have you guys ever seen a rainbow cake? It's like layers. Each one is a different color. And there's frosting on the top and between each layer. And if you've seen the boardwalk blouse, you know it's like wide stripes with tiny stripes in between. So my feeling was we make the frosting, which is the ribs on the top, and then that will be in between the layers. And then there are 14 stripes total, which is perfect. I can have 2 rainbows, right? But add pink, because I've always felt that the rainbow should include pink. So it would go like ivory, red, ivory, pink. What comes next? Roy, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. Guys, it's a rainbow cake. Right? Right? I'm so excited about this. We love a rainbow. It's June. It's almost June. It's almost Pride Month. Guys, we love a rainbow. I should do this, right? I feel really excited about this. And then I also feel like one of the bummers about choosing a color for knitting is that you're like, but there are so many other good colors out there, and you feel like I wanted to do purple, but what about green? And in this instance, I get to use all the colors. No colors left behind. So yeah, I'm really excited. It's gonna be my rainbow cake sweater. So that's the plan. Oh, and so this time I am using the recommended yarn, which I wish I'd done last time, honestly, because I did have a few, the little snags that I hit were not at all because of the pattern, or I mean, the pattern is fantastic. And I just want to say, like, Amy's a friend of mine. I've always admired Amy because of her designs and her aesthetic. But doing the sweater, I was like, oh my God, Amy's a genius. I had no idea. Because, I mean, I can't do that. Who can do that? Who can write a knitting pattern and make it look that good and nail the whole vibe of a brand like she has? So I did text her today to tell her she's amazing. And yeah, I was just super impressed with it. Her pattern's so good, but the snags that I hit were due to not using the recommended yarn. So I'm really excited to just make a design in the yarn that she recommends and the yarn that she used, which incidentally is the same yarn that I just used, the Bodice, but it's the fingering weight rather than the DK weight. So it's tiny. So that's my plan. Okay, Melicia is Melicia Simone on Ravelry. Go friend her too. yeah, so that's the plan. What do you guys think? You guys are getting into, okay, so Hollywood is so awful. I think the costumes are great, but seem ill-fitting on most of the actresses. Okay, so guys, Hollywood is a Netflix series. And it is a Ryan Murphy show. So like Glee, he's done a ton of other stuff. And when I did the Brocade giveaway on Patreon, a lot of you said, I asked you guys what you were like binge watching, and a lot of you guys mentioned that. And I will say it is super intriguing. I was like, as soon as I looked at it, I was like, yes, because it's like set in 1947, year of the new look, Christian Dior, in Hollywood. Post-war, a group of sort of like rough and tumble young, up and comers making a movie together, fighting against the odds. And I was like, yes, I'm all in. And I'm not going to give any spoilers or anything, guys, so don't feel like you have to leave, because I know when it comes to Drag Race, I like spoil the heck out of everything. So I watched the first episode and I was like, yes, okay. So there's like a handsome kid, comes to Hollywood, needs to make money, wants to be an actor. He gets a job at a gas station, owned by Dylan McDermott. And it turns out that he was hired to be a prostitute. And sort of like the Hollywood elite come to this gas station, and the code word is you say you want to go to Dreamland, and you get like a hot young thing, a hot young guy. So these are all male prostitutes, come join you in your car and go off for a night of shenanigans. So after that, oh, and by the way, these guys are so cute. And the costumes are great. I'm obsessed with these gas station uniforms with the little hats and jackets and high-waisted pants. I was like 100% in from the storyline. I was like, is this a show about Hollywood gigolos working at a gas station in cute uniforms? Sign me up. And then like for the first 3 episodes, I was really into it. Came back for another night of viewing, and I was like, what am I watching? I was like, is it me? Like, did my mood change, or did the story change? What happened here? And then I kept watching. It's only 7 episodes, so I mean, you're weaving it ends, might as well. But wow, it goes so off the rails. Some of the young actors are cringily bad, cringeworthy. I mean, a lot of the drama hinges on the fact that this movie that they make is supposed to be so good that not only does it like sweep the Oscars, I'm sorry, I'm spoiling things a little bit. Not only does it sweep the Oscars, but it basically destroys homophobia and racism in Hollywood in the 40s. All right. So obviously this is sort of like a what if question. But the problem is the actors are terrible and the movie looks terrible. I mean, like really terrible. And to the point where, I mean, they do 2 auditions, like 2 girls up against each other. And like the viewer is supposed to apparently understand that one was so transcendently good and better than the other. But like, as a viewer, you're like, oh, okay. So I'm supposed to think that was good. Like, I just like, it's very, very, it's confusing. Oh yeah, there's a Rock Hudson character. That's the other cool thing, is if you're into Hollywood history, a lot of these people are based on real people. So Rock Hudson, for instance, but obviously it changes his storyline a lot, because as we know, Rock Hudson was closeted his entire career, died of AIDS, was never able to come out of the closet, right? So, I mean, I don't know. I feel a little uncomfortable with the fact that they made him and they changed his story so much. But I don't. Oh yeah, Vivian Lee. Who else, guys? Help me out. Yeah. In any case, for the costumes are great. I was really impressed by the hair. Like, if you look at the hair on these women, it is just like the artistry, far too much. I loved it. I love that part of it. I love the aesthetics of it. It's shot beautifully. Yeah, it's just yeah. Anime Wong, thank you. Reagan says, as a costumer, I don't get why people like the costumes. I think the men's wardrobes are good, but have issues with the women's. Interesting. I love the menswear. I think that is what I responded to first and foremost. And these men look amazing. Like, I think that they nailed the hair for not only the women, but the men. I don't know. I just really responded to it. I know that a lot of people really like the Patti LuPone costumes. They're quite extravagant, which is always fun to look at. I'm trying to think if there was anything else that I was like dying over. I will say that, like, in one of the final, Queen Latifah's in it. One of the final scenes between the main character Camille and Queen Latifah, Hattie, what's that famous actress's name? Help me, guys. Who won the Oscar for Gone with the Wind. So there's a character between them. There's a scene between them where Camille is wearing like a leopard beret, and it honestly just looked really cheap. It kind of looked like kind of like bad reproduction vintage. So I did have a moment there where I was like, And also, you'll see like some of your favorite brands in there too, like reproduction. Hattie McDaniel, thank you, Colin. So you'll see some of your favorite brands mixed in there. Like, there's a lot of Remix shoes. I was like, oh, my Ritas. They wear Remix for the entire thing. There's some What Katie Did lingerie mixed in there. Yeah, I guess I don't like, compared to something like The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, I would say I enjoyed the costumes on Maisel a lot more. That's just me. The blonde actress, yeah. Have I watched The Big Flower Fight? I haven't, but that looks really good. Netflix showed me the trailer as I was trying to get to Hollywood the other night. Besame provided cosmetics for the women. Yeah, and I thought the makeup looked great. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, mixed feelings. I would say if you're in the mood for something kind of light and you want to look at like some really cute guys wearing cute outfits, then that would be my recommendation. But that was kind of like the extent of it for me. Yeah, Patti LuPone's dressing gowns were really fun. It's, yeah, a lot of eye candy with the male actors. Yeah, they all looked really, really, really good, I gotta say. Yeah. All right, did we have, I felt like I had another topic. Talked about knitting. We talked about our actual topic. We talked about our next project. Yeah, I guess that's it for me. Am I missing anything? Yeah, I've been sewing all day, guys, and tomorrow I'm going to be shooting stuff for Patreon. So kind of against the wire, you know, up on, what's the saying? Up against the wire, up against the, I'm cramming, guys. What's the date? It's the 21st. So shooting tomorrow, and then have next week to get the photos edited for June Patreon. How's my camp going? Oh, I could give you my camper update, which is, you guys know I was sort of looking at vintage camping trailers last week and thinking about buying one so that I could meet up and have some family adventures with my mom, who just bought an RV, and also kind of thinking about having a charm patterns camper that we can like have meetups and stuff with. So guys, I've had some really great conversations with someone who is selling a 1963 Shasta here in New York State, which is great. They're harder to find in this area just because it's kind of a more like West Coast, California, Colorado kind of thing. But I found pretty much exactly what I was looking for. It's been completely restored. The price is great. And I've had a couple conversations with this guy who's selling it, and he restored it. So I'm going to see it on Saturday. Yeah, and so Melisha and I are going to have a girls' trip. So yeah, Melisha told me I told her I was looking at campers, and she said, I want to go camping with you. I was like, you are. This is your work life now. Get in the charm camper. So I am going to look at it on, I don't want to jinx it by showing you pictures, guys, but it is really cute. It is currently blue, which was the original color. It has the like little zigzag, you know, Shasta thing with white on the top and sort of like a powder blue on the bottom. This guy did such a good job restoring it. He's really into vintage. And it was funny, when I first talked to him, he was kind of leaning towards, he had talked to this other couple, and he's like, well, they're first in line. And the more we talked, he really liked that I like vintage. Well, I'm like obsessed with vintage, and that I knew like what the original layout would have looked like in a 1963 Shasta, and that he hadn't changed anything about it, and that he'd restored it beautifully. And so yeah, we had a funny conversation where he kind of went a little sour on the other people, and now he has decided that he wants me to have it. So we'll see. Yeah, I've been talking to people who have been helping me a lot with like, what is the process of like, what should I be looking for? Like red flags, like, yeah, check the floor, all of that. So I will definitely update you guys next week with how it went. And yeah, I'm really excited. Very excited. Get your camping togs out, Melisha. We're going camping. So yeah, I'm really excited, and I'll let you guys know how it goes. It did go really fast. Yeah, I didn't expect to find anything so quickly here. And I was kind of like, when I saw it, I was like, you know, like I have to, you know, you get that sort of frantic feeling of like, I have to jump on this. But yeah, yeah, I'm really excited. My mom has been like super into me buying this thing, which is so funny because normally I feel like this would be one of my like harebrained kind of ideas. But because she now has an RV, which she's getting next week, she's like ready for me to get one too. So she's like, buy it. So yeah, check the undercarriage. I definitely will. Yeah. So I'm excited because this guy really like cared. He actually wrote some blog posts about the renovation that he did, and like what I can see from it, he did like such a thorough job. So yeah, I'm excited. Okay, so Mina has a question. I have a question about the Stanwix skirt pockets. I'm making it in denim. Do you recommend using denim as the lining for the pocket to maintain continuity of the denim look, or something lighter? It's totally up to you. Personally, I would use the denim. The thing about the Stanwix pockets is that they do stand away from the body, so you can see slightly into them. So, I mean, if you want to if you want to be able to see the denim and have that continuity, as you said, then yeah, I think denim would be fine. And I mean, the other option is if you wanted a peak of contrast, you could use a different color lining fabric. You want to use the denim? Yeah, do it. Do it. I have no reservations about that, Mina. I have tons of harebrained ideas. Yeah, that's me. That's my life. That's how we got here. So let's see. Camper. Oh, someone asked about Pocket Camp. That's why I got on this. Yeah, I'm making my Pocket Camp a reality. So guys, I've been still playing Pocket Camp on my phone. That's the Animal Crossing like free version. Super into it. Not as, you know, I don't spend as much time on it as I used to when I was first setting up my camp, but I definitely check in multiple times a day to make sure that I'm feeding all my animals and you know, everything you got to do. But then I kind of lost interest in the Switch and New Horizons, and I'm going to go back to it. But I haven't actually gotten on that for a week now. So I think it's just that I'm not like a huge video game person, and I like being able to just do something on my phone that is like a little bit mindless for a little bit, but having to actually get out another device is a little like, eh. But that's my thought. All right, everyone. So I think we updated on everything. Oh, yeah. And yesterday we had a great crowdcast for Patreon, and that was really fun. It was great to see you all there. And we talked about the inspiration for the rose dressing gown. And I gave a lot of like behind the scenes info and inspiration shots and all of that. So if you're interested and you're on Patreon, you can still go watch that. You can watch like the replay just like you can here. And there was a Q&A at the end and people had some great questions. So yeah, it was super fun. Oh, you guys like the crowdcast? That's great to hear. Yeah, I love doing them. They're really fun. And it's just a different vibe for me because it's more like giving a presentation. And like I mentioned yesterday, I get to like, it's really like reflective for me. Like I don't generally go back over my inspiration and process photos like after something is released. I don't know why I don't, but I just haven't done that before. So I have really been enjoying just personally the process of like pulling together all of my inspiration photos, everything that I have pictures of when I was trying to decide which side of the fabric to use, and I draped different sides and how to place the pocket and like all that stuff that I take pictures of along the way. I've never really like merged it all into a presentation like that. So I've really been enjoying giving them, and yeah, I'll definitely continue those because they're great for me too. I'm glad you guys like them. All right, guys. So that's it from me for this week because tomorrow I am going to be shooting for Patreon, and then I'll be back here on Monday's Memorial Day. We're taking the day off, so I'll be back on Tuesday here. All right, so I just want to say to you all, like, have a really great weekend. And, you know, it's not, for us here in the US, this is not a traditional Memorial Day weekend, but I hope you can do something to celebrate or just to relax and to enjoy yourselves. So stay safe out there. Can't wait to see you next week. And I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for hanging out with me. Get started on your sweaters. Boardwalk, everyone. Boardwalk blouse. All right. I'll talk to you next time. Goodbye.